alive now. Um, I can never be sure when I'm doing this on the um, web interfaces. I like the phone setup a lot better for knowing such things. I'm sure I'll get used to it and get better at this as I go along. But, um, okay, so yeah, I believe I am live. So, I'm going to get started. I was hoping that I was going to be able to do a cane demo today, and other things from my glasses view, but the glasses are being a little buggy at the moment. There's a little update, and I'm not sure if that had anything to do with it or not. But after that, I could not, when I was on my Facebook Live from my phone, I couldn't switch to the glasses view, which I really wanted when doing a demo of the white cane. And so I, after a long process, contacted support, and they just told me the usual things I could find on the internet, like uninstall the MetaView app and disconnect from Bluetooth and unpair your device and all that. So I did all that, but still no cigar. So we will have to just hope for the best. And apparently, some people, I've Googled it, and others have had the same problem, and then it fixes itself eventually in most cases. So I hope that will be the same for me. Um, but that was kind of disappointing. But I still have plenty to talk about on this issue of blind travel. In fact, I may even split this into more than one video. Um, by the way, the last video I did was all about my um, Meta glasses, which for the most part I really love, so be sure to check that out, because I don't know how many blind people are aware of them, and I think they can be a really handy tool because they're not made specifically for blind people. But just not showing a link. I'll probably do that eventually, but for now my channel is small enough. You can just go to Gliding Through Blindness and then look up the video about my Meta glasses if you're interested in learning more about them. Um, and my next video, if it's not part 2 of this topic, it will be about probably going to the ranch that my siblings and I own, because I will be probably heading out there this weekend with my kids, hopefully. And that ranch is a really interesting place for a lot of reasons, so you'll have to stay tuned if you want to know more about that. Okay, so with that, I guess we'll go onto my topic. Oh no, I did want to say that, yay, I've been invited to several podcasts and other YouTube channels. One of them wants to talk to me more about the glasses, and another one just wants to talk about my channel in general and whatnot. So I'll definitely be giving you more details on that once all the dates are finalized, and I can give you a date and time and stuff like that. But it's pretty cool that those people are reaching out to me. And so today we're talking all about different ways that blind people have of getting around. And we can start with this whole idea, I guess, of what does it mean to travel independently, or for that matter, what does independence mean in general? And there are a lot of extreme views from the blind community, which is what I'm most familiar with, but I'm sure it's kind of across the board, like what classifies as being independent. And like some people don't want to use a lot of the services and apps that are available to us now because then they think they'll lose some of their independence. Or some people think that those apps give them way more independence than they would have otherwise. So I kind of can see both arguments in a way. I mean, I definitely come down more on the side of I want all the tech I can get to help me out. But I mean, I just appreciate some of the different arguments. But for me, where I kind of land, and I'll probably do more videos on this because there's a lot to explore, but as long as you can find a way to do what you want when you want, basically, like within reason. Of course, you have to respect other people's rights and like not step on toes and like that kind of stuff. But other than that, then I think that is what mainly makes people independent is just figuring out methods, what no matter what those methods are, whether you take a bus to get somewhere, for example, or whether you're in a hurry and don't want to, if you can afford Uber, or if you just feel like taking an Uber because where you're going is close by, or whatever the case may be, then that's a perfectly acceptable option, in my view. Or, like, as far as travel, if you just want to take somebody's arm, and the technical jargon for that is sighted guide, but it's basically you just take their elbow, which is vastly preferable to them taking your elbow, because if you take someone else's elbow, then they are leading the way, and then you can walk behind them and feel the type of terrain that they are, like they're ahead of you, leading the way, so they're not pushing you ahead of them. So just a note to all you sighted people listening that if you are helping a blind person, it's a lot better if you let them take your arm, and then they can feel like when you go up or down steps and things like that, and it's just a whole lot easier and better. But some people really want to avoid, some blind people I should say, want to avoid going sighted guide because they think that's less, that makes them more dependent on other people, which is true in a sense, but for me, I look at the overall, like the ultimate goal. If my ultimate goal is just to get to the table in the restaurant as quickly and efficiently as possible, then I would probably just opt to take someone's arm instead of making them say, okay, over this way, oh, don't, there's a thing right in front of you there, don't run into that person, or on and on. Sometimes it just seems easier to take a person's arm in that case. But, like, the test is if you avoid going somewhere because you don't feel comfortable going there, because you're blind, then that should be kind of that has been me on occasion, or sometimes, I mean, it's perfectly doable, and I know I could do it if it was something I really wanted to do, but if sometimes I just think about, I think I'll just stay home because it's just more difficult to figure out the transportation and just to find my way around once I get there. So I've avoided certain situations because of that, but I am trying more to get out of that mindset and to not let my blindness like stop me from going anywhere, which I'll get into more of that probably a little later when I tell more about my own history and stuff like that. So yeah, I think this is definitely going to be a multiple part video. And I was thinking about doing a YouTube live, but I don't have enough audience yet to, like, because I would love it if other blind people would take part in the conversation via chat or whatever and tell me their views along the way, so we could have more of an interactive discussion. But so please tell everyone, whether somebody just wants to know more about what it's like being blind, or whether you are blind. I welcome everybody, and I plan to eventually talk about way more things than just blindness, but for now, that's probably the thing that sticks out most about me. That's what they see or notice first, so that's kind of what I've been focusing on. But I have a lot of different interests. But anyway, be sure to like and subscribe and share and just spread the word about my channel. I would very much appreciate it. So right now, the two main methods for blind people getting around are using a white cane, which that's the oldest method. That has been around for ages. And then the other one, of course, is using a guide dog, and there's pros and cons for each one of those. And I'll just say a few of them that occur to me, but I'm sure there's some of you out there thinking you didn't mention this or whatever. So just be sure to comment, even though you're not seeing this live. Be sure to write something in the comment if you have a different view or want to add to what I've said, and I will address that probably in a future video, or address it with you in the comment section or whatever. But some of the advantages that I thought of for the cane is that it's portable, especially if you have like a telescoping cane or like folding cane, which I can show you all that once I hopefully get my glasses working, because it'd make things a lot easier. But yeah, and some people are even against that. I don't think so much anymore. I think a lot of these issues that people kind of talked about in the beginning have kind of died out more so now, but they used to say like, don't fold up your cane because that signifies that you're ashamed of it, and just use a long rigid cane. But the fact is that it's just way easier, especially if you're traveling with kids or whatever, to just put your cane in your purse or another bag or backpack or whatever you have, and to not worry about it. But I know some people are kind of ashamed of their cane, and especially if you're newly blind, you just don't want to stick out, and I kind of understand that mentality, but when you just think about it logically, like some people that are hearing impaired don't want to wear a hearing aid because they think, I don't know really what their reasoning is if you just stop to think about it, because so what if someone notices that you have a hearing aid? I mean, if it really greatly enhances your life, I could not imagine not being able to hear what's around me. And so I kind of just view the cane the same way. Of course, if you're with somebody, sometimes the people that you're with have an issue with it too, like everybody's staring at you because you have a cane or whatever. But that's kind of another issue that you really shouldn't let it bother you, and probably it's easier said than done. I mean, the fact that I can't actually see the people staring at me is probably a good thing. Maybe I'd be more intimidated or embarrassed if I could, but I mean, I just see it as people aren't necessarily being rude. People are just curious, and why not just let them learn, like use it as an educational opportunity. And of course, we don't always just want to be teachers or educators of ignorant people or whatever, but we just want to live our lives sometimes, and so I can see that point of it too. But I try to just realize that I'm a very curious person also, so I would probably be staring if I could see, if I just saw something interesting or like a different type of device or something, I would probably be interested in that too, and I wouldn't mean to be rude or anything like that. So I just try to give people the benefit of the doubt on stuff like that. But yeah, of course, another advantage with the cane is that you don't have to feed it or take care of it or take it to the vet or take care of it when it gets sick. I mean, having a dog is a lot like having a kid in some ways. You just always have that responsibility, like the cost of their food, and like if you go somewhere, you just always have to consider their needs and make sure they have enough room in the vehicle that you're in, or that type of thing. But I don't have a dog. I hope that's not like too obvious that because I don't have a problem with dogs at all. I like dogs, and I've had dogs as a pet as a child, and we considered having a pet for our kids when they were younger, but then my son developed allergies, so there's no way we could have had a dog just for that reason alone. But my siblings don't have a dog either. We all use a white cane or whatever, and so. But some die-hard cane people say, well, if you have a dog, you'll lose your cane skills and you'll become too dependent on the dog, which I'm going to keep an eye on the time because I know I'm going to run way over otherwise. Um, so yeah, I just looked at my computer because my watch also broke the other day. Boo-hoo! At least the band, so I don't really want to buy a whole new watch just because the band broke. So anyway, I just checked the time on my computer. But so yeah, some people say that using a dog, you would lose your cane skills, and there's probably some truth to that. I mean, I have my friend Lavette says she always notices when it's time for her to get a new dog that she just really hates the intervening time when she has to depend on her cane, because you can just do so, she just feels so much more efficient and stuff with the dog. So it's not like that she has lost any skills. I mean, she still totally gets around and everything with a cane when she has to, but I think there are a lot of advantages to having a dog, which I will discuss in a moment. But because you could say that about a lot of things, like we've lost in large part like hand sewing. Not many people sew anymore because there's sewing machines and we can just buy our clothes at a store. Or like cooking is another skill that I think is kind of, not many people are really good cooks anymore, which is kind of sad in a way. But if I had to choose, I would rather have our conveniences that we have now, where we can just buy so many things, even healthy options in a store now. Like there's like just so many ready-made options, or like we have things like DoorDash now, and like my brother is really kind of into cooking. He doesn't have that much time to do it, but he just really likes playing around with his Ninja Foodie and his outdoor grill that he bought now, and just likes experimenting and stuff like that. But I, on the other hand, don't really like cooking that much, so I'm glad there are options that I can just cheat and put a frozen Schwan dish in the oven if I want to, or yeah, I just love having choices and options. Like my son is another one who loves to experiment, and so I just love his homemade cooked meals, but yet I also like my conveniences too. But oh yeah, how did I get on that? Just I guess thinking about how adaptable people can be to new. I mean, I think progress is good, even though it does mean change, and even though there's usually a downside to change. I think we just kind of have to weigh the pros and cons, and what do we think will gain us more in the long run. And like with this new device that I don't even know if I'll get to in this video, but that's kind of what gave me the initial idea, this new glide device that will be coming out in a year or so. People might say you shouldn't depend on your technology so much, because what happens if it fails? And so that's why I think it is good to have an array of skills, but you don't have to be a total master at all of them. Just have enough different techniques in your toolbox that you can do whatever. If something fails, you have another way of getting around it. And like the other day, I went out with my friend Laura. She's blind as well, and I really wanted to show her my new glasses. I was so excited, and she was kind of excited to see them and everything. And so we went to this meeting, and then I noticed that the glasses weren't working. So that was the first disappointment. So after the meeting, we said, where should we go for lunch? And I should say too, because I have it in my notes, and I probably will forget to come back to it otherwise, so I just say things in the order I wrote them down. Like going outside, you have to just really pay attention to things. Before we had tech, like you had to pay attention to where the wind was coming from, and what direction, so you could like orient yourself, or what direction the sun was coming from, and what time of day it was, so then you could deduce from that where what direction you were probably going in and stuff like that that you don't need to do anymore, or it's not as necessary, I should say, if you do have some of the tech. But getting back to my story about my friend and I, nothing was working that day, none of the tech that I wanted to show her and stuff. um, and so, like, it was raining outside. We finally decided we were going to go to Hardee's because it was close by and we were kind of in a time crunch. So I said, well, I'll just call a cab because it was rainy, or I'll call a Lyft here, but I couldn't even get that to work, which I was so confused on why that was not working. And so then I said, well, it's not far away, I'll just plug it into my Google Maps, and it will, because I have detailed voice guidance on there, which is a setting just for blind people where it gives you more directions and whatnot. And so that wasn't working. And Laura's she just quietly went on, well, come on, it's this way, or whatever. She didn't really make fun of my attempts to do things in the high-tech, quote-unquote, easy way, but she's just a very good cane traveler, and like she's really good at geography and stuff. I'm kind of envious of some of her skills that she has. Like, she knew exactly how to get us to the Hardee's. We had a little trouble, like when we, because there was no sidewalk and it was just kind of weird in one spot. So fortunately there's a guy there that helped us get the last few feet, which is oftentimes the most difficult or the most challenging, is to actually find where the door is once the Uber lets you off, or once your GPS says you have arrived. Like, have you actually arrived? Like, where is the door from where I'm standing? So it's those last few. But another good skill that you should really incorporate or know and not be afraid to use is just to ask somebody. Like, some people are afraid to ask because then they think that makes them less independent. But I think, since my overall goal of being independent is getting to the Hardee's and getting my food and all that, so I asked somebody where the door is or whatever. And then like, once we got there, we figured out where the counter was and ordered our food, and then we asked the person if he could direct us to where there was an empty table. I think we did that. My memory serves me. This was like a week ago. And then we asked if he could just bring the food to us so we wouldn't have to go all the way back up there and figure out, like, where the table was and stuff, carrying our tray of food. And like, some people might think that isn't the most independent route, but to me that was just the most efficient route at the time. So I think there just really has to be a balance between what your overall goal is. So yeah, and then I figured out later that the whole issue with, and at one point I even had said, I'll call Ira, because when we got to that spot where neither one of us were really sure where we should go, I tried to call Ira and no luck there. So I was just at a loss why nothing was working. And I finally figured out, when I got home that day, I figured out that the reason was that when I got my new phone, none of my data was transferred over for some reason. So I had to get that all figured out. So at least I now know what the problem was, but it was kind of frustrating at the time. But that's why you just learn your alternative techniques. Like, we just adapted to the situation and had different tools in our toolbox, I guess. So yeah, but I have lost a lot of things that I used to do when I was younger, and I'm going to draw this to a close now because I think I've been on long enough for this video. But like, back in the day, because I've been listening to these diary tapes that my brother found and is digitizing for us. It's really cool to listen back to, like, when I was 19 and just how fearless I was. So compared to now, I can tell just by listening back that I have lost a lot of the skills and stuff. So I'm going to talk about pick up there probably in my next video, and hopefully then we will get to my main goal, which is the glide device. So be sure to stay tuned, and next time I see you, I might be at the ranch or I might be somewhere else. So depending on if I can get my glasses view to work as well. But thanks to everybody for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye.